Welcome to Engage Math, Lesson 29, Problem 2. And we are solving equations by taking the square root of both sides. And this time, we sometimes have to isolate the squared quantity. So let's start with A. And when we take the square root of both sides, as you know from previous lessons, we can get x minus 8 to the first power, just x minus 8, but we have to do the plus or minus on the side without the variable. So we have x minus 8 equals plus or minus 5. And so now I'm going to write that as two different equations. X minus 8 can be equal to 5. X minus 8 is equal to negative 5. So now we're going to add 8 to both sides here. So we're going to get x equals 13. That's one of our answers. The other answer, when we add 8 to both sides, is x equals 3. So our two answers are x equals 13, x equals 3. Either one of those would work if you were to put them into the original equation. Okay, let's go to the next one. So here, what we have to do is isolate the squared quantity first. So we're going to do that by dividing both sides by 3, and we have x minus 1 to the second power equals 4. Now we can take the square root of both sides. I'm going to just change the color to help you see that. So now we have x minus 1 equals plus or minus 2. So our two equations are going to be x minus 1 equals 2, and then the other equation is going to be x minus 1 equals negative 2. I'm not going to show all the work with this, but x is either equal to 3, and the other answer is going to be x is equal to negative 1. Okay, we're ready for C. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see C and D really clearly. All right, so for C, the first thing we want to do, I'm going to actually get rid of that, what I had above, just so you can see the problem really clearly. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and get rid of this negative 1/3. The easiest way to get rid of that fraction is to multiply everything through by a negative 3. Because if in the entire equation, we multiply the entire equation through by negative 3 over 1 and distribute it, on the left, we're going to get a positive 9, because the negative 3 over 1 multiplied by the negative 3 over here gives us a positive 9. And remember, we can do this because we're doing it to both sides of the equation. When the negative 3 over 1 multiplies right here, the negative times the negative makes a positive, and the 3's cancel each other out, so we end up with simply n plus 5 to the second. Now we're ready to take the square root of both sides, so we're going to get n plus 5 on the right, and on the left we're going to get plus or minus 3. So our two equations are going to be n plus 5 equals 3, and the other one will be n plus 5 equals negative 3. So our answers are n equals negative 2, n equals negative 8. All right. Let's go to the last problem, so D. So first we have to subtract the 2 from both sides, because remember, we'd like to isolate the quantity that's being raised to the second power first. So we have equals 15. Okay, so now we're going to take the square root of both sides, and I like to switch the color for that just so that you can see what I'm doing there with taking the square root. And so we get just 4a minus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 15. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. So what's a little tricky sometimes is now we have 4a on the left because the negative 3 and 3 cancel. But on the right, we have the 3 before the plus or minus square root 15. You could also write plus or minus square root 15 plus 3, but usually you'll see it written in this form, so I think it's a good habit to get used to that. And then we're going to divide both sides by 4. So our final answer is going to be that A is equal to 3 plus or minus the square root of 15 all over 4. And we're done. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Kind of show you all those answers at once. We'll see you next time in Engage Math.